at the podcast on Saturday. Talk about what the people really want to hear.
It seems like it's very exclusive to people who have valuable shit to give away, or not give away, sell. Like I couldn't sell an NFT of my, I don't even know what I would sell.
Right. And if you're not a big enough brand, you're not going to do, I can't go on there and sell like anything and be like, look at this. This is a one-time only corrupt flag, digital corrupt flag.
Yep.
That I made in paint. I made it in paint. Only $500. Who wants
You got to
it?
go higher, man.
Well, yeah, because I saw a single red pixel get sold and bought for $500,000, and I don't know who was the seller or why, but it was huge on Twitter. And that's when I took a step back and I'm like, I need to understand this a little bit more, because I don't get why something like that would happen.
Dude, you know what crazy is, like, Crank That?
Yeah.
He's been diving into 3D digital design for the last fucking 5 years, and he's like so good at it now, and he's probably just
a monster.
He's probably just like, I'm retiring. He's literally already posted like 10 NFTs that are like sick. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, no, he's a beast at that. I always watch his time lapses. He's a beast.
Check out his Instagram.
I always watch his time lapses.
Not even about music anymore. Check out his Instagram.
I always watch his time lapses.
Not even about music.
It works.
Same with Labs. He's like not even about music.
It works.
Check out his Labs.
I mean, as far as I know,
crypto and stuff too. Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
He threw a crypto festival, didn't he? It.
I don't know how successful it was, but the idea was awesome.
Yeah.
So SYFR, what are you doing now for work?
So I work.
Wait till you hear this.
I work in music publishing. So I work for Universal Music Publishing Group, and I do financial evaluations for. Well, part of it is financial evaluations for catalog acquisitions. So if you want to sell your publishing copyrights, I'll do the analysis behind it to see if our company wants to buy it.
Nice.
So one of the big deals that we just did last year is Bob Dylan. We bought his songwriting catalog. So that's a big chunk of what I do.
Nice. Stayed in the industry then.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome.
Still out here.
Have you had any projects that were like your pet projects that, maybe the company didn't give it to you, but like you went and got some publishing deals, nothing like that?
No.
Yeah,
nothing outside. I mean,
I got this guy.
No. I mean, I get stuff that I enjoy working on, because we have a lot of songwriters in our company that I like. So it's nice to work on those deals. But I haven't personally brought anyone in who's gotten signed. That's our A&R's job.
Well, James, I tried. Jimmy, do you produce it all?
Yeah, man. I'm a big Logic Pro X guy. I don't know if that ruffles any feathers here,
no,
but yeah.
We don't hate here.
I love when people say that, because it's like there's no, like, being on Ableton, like, I don't care if somebody else uses something else. Like, people are just like, oh, Ableton, I would never know what I'm doing on there. It's literally the same thing. It's just different.
I've gotten
different colors.
Windows versus Mac.
Right, yeah, and I've gotten the reverse of that, where it's like,
that's on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Ableton. I'm like, oh no, man. Do you want my midis? I can bounce you, like, it'll work out the same. I'll give you stems. Like, it doesn't matter.
The only thing is frustrating is when you're trying to bounce projects and and presets are ran differently. So like I can't collect all my preset, or I'm sorry, my my instruments and my presets and everything. They just won't. If you have a Mac and I have a PC, that's a whole other issue. So it was better just getting in our studio together and just working on it like that.
Yeah, totally.
Are we live? Should I be sharing?
Yeah, man, we're live.
Okay, cool.
We are live. Facebook, Twitch.
Did you do the intro
YouTube.
already?
No, man. We can't do that without you. It's not 6:30 yet.
I was gonna say, man, all I did is take
got 3 minutes.
2-minute pee. This guy.
Trying to think. Oh, So tell about the dubstep show you guys had. Someone said it was like the first dubstep show at Dahlia, and I'm like, it's definitely not the first.
I gotta be careful what I say, bro. Because
why?
the health department be listening, man.
No, dude, you know, is everyone at tables?
I'm kidding, bro. But seriously, it was really good. Like it was very different. First of all, it's not dubstep isn't my forte, but you know I like a good challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like playing everything. And they had this guy after me, shout out to Redder, who's like an dubstep producer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, usually in my head, I'm thinking this might not go well, but the guy crushed it and his music was like really good.
Wow.
And he's from here, right? He's from I think Cincinnati.
Does he have any releases yet, or is he bubbling?
No, I think he's releasing. I just think he just, hasn't gotten like noticed yet, but solid mixing and like I don't know, man. It was just really fun. I got to play a lot of edits that I hadn't played in a long time. The crowd was good.
You said D-Saves played well, which made me happy.
Yeah, he's just the overall good, humble DJ, man. Like he's like, he was there early, there late, played a good set. It's cool to do dubstep there because we haven't done it in a while. So yeah, it was a good time, man. And
then you got house show, tomorrow with Kenobi, you and going back to back?
Yeah, we got Dylan Nathaniel coming in town. Should be fun. I mean, all the house shows always go well. Like,
and Dylan's been here before, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like right now with how many people want to go out, it's not hard to like get who you need in there to fill the
True.
And with the restrictions, you can't even get those people all in. So it's a good problem to have, I guess. But yeah. How about
Jimmy,
you been playing weddings?
Yeah, man, playing a lot. I was down in Kentucky for a wedding that went really well last weekend. I got 2 weddings this weekend. Calendar's filling up with stuff from a new place called Lux that Corso's opening up, and I'm at Town Hall. And man, I don't know, man, I would love to talk about that place, about the experience I had at that place.
Oh man, dude. Yeah. So I'm actually doing a wedding.
Oh yeah.
My first wedding in a long time. I have so many questions for you.
Cool, man. We'll talk about it. When how much time do we have?
No. Like we'll get, I'm gonna have a lot of questions.
Oh.
But I took it because I couldn't say no to the offer.
Offer you couldn't refuse.
Offer I couldn't refuse. I'll learn immediately. I remember it being more just about organized, like studying names, right? And talking with the party and making sure, you don't pronounce grandma's name wrong, right?
Yeah, man, it's all about taking great notes and practice. You got like a lot of times you have that cocktail hour, that hour buffer between if you're doing the ceremony or, just to lead into the event. And if you have the right notes and you just go over and over and over them, spend that entire time just going over them, you're not going to mess it up. I mean, you're confident enough on the mic that like, it's not like you'll be scared of it. So that's I'd say the number one thing. As long as you're not scared of the mic and you're prepared, you'll do fine.
I know some wedding DJs up here that refuse to MC, and it surprises me.
No, I would be that guy that
right, just the music, yeah.
That's only I don't want 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half of work.
Yeah.
I did send somebody your info though, Mike, for just recently, like a week ago, for it. Because I'm like, no, I'm not a wedding DJ. I'm doing a wedding.
I appreciate it, man. Phone's been ringing off the hook. Guys, 6:30. Okay. We have Jimmy Gross and SYFR here. Both not necessarily Columbus DJs, but doing gigs in Columbus. Present, future, and then of course in the past. So I'm gonna run the intro. You guys can't see this. Don't worry about that. But trust me, it looks amazing. Tell them how amazing it looks, Grub.
This guy's been on this thing he's so proud of it. Look at him take a sip of his drink.
That's right.
If Mike made it, I know it's amazing.
This podcast is going to be so big. You're going to sell that thing for that digital intro for NFT.
I hope so. You get the right circle, digital intro, which I spent $10 on. Don't tell anyone. What's up, everybody? Episode 40. We made it. Another 10 episodes in with my host, Corrupt. What's happening, buddy? We've been talking. It's been good. Phone's ringing off the hook for me. People are filling up at Dahlia responsibly for you. How's life, man?
Good, man. When you told me SYFR was joining us, I was like...
You got excited.
CGS group SYFR? And like the memories that we have, man. I can't even explain it to like my new circle of like DJs and you know, the promoters around here now. Like they don't even know, man.
There's not really a spot like there used to be where you could hop between 3 different bars and get, 3 somewhat different styles of music. Like I remember I was in Patio doing like top 40, like Cypher doing like the sexy stuff in Social back when Social was like sexy and not just top 40 like everything else. And then you had Saloon, Corrupt. You and Rusty were over there doing crazy stuff with the lights and whatnot. So.
And Jimmy, like I just miss getting crazy with you in Cleveland, and I know you've been killing it with the DJing. I still only have seen you play like one time. It was like you were there at Forward or you were opening for me. Yeah, I don't even remember what it was, but it was I know
years ago too, I think.
Yeah, and like I mean, how is Cleveland? Like what's the industry doing?
It's booming right now up here, man. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing, but normally on a Friday we'd start having a crowd around 11:30 midnight. People go out late up here. Saturday 11 o'clock tables would start filling up. We got lines at 9 p.m. Pretty much at every bar in the city now at this point, and I've never seen it like that. But I think people have just been so cooped up for so long. Weather's getting warmer. They just want to be out and having fun and responsibly, of course. But
well, let's do intros before we get too into it, because I do have a bunch of questions about that. So let's start with Jimmy. Tell everybody who you are and what you do and how long you've been doing it and all that good stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I'll start. I'm Jimmy Gross, which is my actual birth name. I say that because when I first started, I was trying to come up with some kind of name, and I would tell people I was DJing as Jimmy Gross, and they asked me, how'd you come up with that? And I'm like, my dad did. So from that point on, I just kind of stuck with it. I've been in the professional circuit up here for a little over 5 years and just playing clubs all around. And I really got into DJing when I was in college, probably 2014, 2015, looking for some sort of new performance outlet, because I've been in music and bands and theater even since I was like a little kid, very small. And I kind of gave it all up when I went to school. And when I was trying to find something new, I was really big into EDM. I was listening to guys like Zed and Avicii nonstop and watching all their videos. And I'm like, I kind of want to try that. So I just started messing around in my bedroom, and eventually I'm like, you know what, I'm going to play my fraternity parties. And it was bad. I was very, very bad. It was not good, but I find that valuable because it kind of got me away from the fear of crowds and seeing what people react to, and just kept enhancing my skill sets from there. And eventually got a club residency in my college town, kept meeting the right people, kept growing my skill sets, and things kind of moved up from there. Now I've got a bunch of Cleveland residencies, one down in Columbus. Really looking forward to the pandemic being over, hopefully being able to expand to other cities. That's it really for me.
So how long have you been doing it total now?
Professionally DJing, probably a little over 5 years. Yeah.
Wow, man.
So that's a good, that's a good success story right there, to be 5 years in and already have established the venues that you have. A lot of people would kill for that, which is awesome. So
yeah, I'm really grateful. Thanks, man.
Did you have any influences, but also like people who are helping you come up, mentors up in Cleveland that like kind of took you through the, hey, this is like how you start DJing, and then introducing you into the club process at all?
Yeah, for sure. One of the first guys that really gave me an opportunity, his name's Jeff Tritt. He gave me an opportunity at my college bar down in Kent, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I met guys like Justin Nice, who's been absolutely influential in, my success moving forward, educating me, helping me meet the right people. So I have to thank those guys a lot.
Big ups to Justin Nice, man. He's been hooking all the DJs up at Seesaw, like just
one of the greats. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What else, Jimmy? So you're in Cleveland. You said you wanted to expand to other markets. I know you produce a little bit. Is that your plan to kind of get outside of Cleveland or do the traveling stuff?
Yeah. So, goals moving forward, I've kind of sat on some edits and some remixes that I've had and that I've been just chipping away at during quarantine. I don't know if you guys can relate, but it kind of really put a blow on my productivity. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel nearly as motivated. It was something kind of kept me going, and I have some stuff that I want to master up and release, and that's a main goal. And then really just keep networking. Like I said before, I have a really good opportunity now where I'm doing bookings at a newer club spot up in Cleveland, and that's helped me meet a lot of cool people. And just trying to be able to meet as many people as I can that share similar passions and be able to ideally, travel. I love Cleveland so much, and I love being up here and playing with the guys that I play with. But being able to expand and meet new people and feel new energies, that's really what I'm going for here in the long-term future.
And Jimmy, are you full time with this? Sorry, Carl.
No, you're good.
I do work full time as well. And full time, I'm a software developer.
Okay.
And I kind of saw DJing as an opportunity to combine music and technology. And those are two really big components of my life. So I think that's what helped me really, find a grasp and a passion for it quickly.
Any DJ software products coming up? Are you on the development side at all that you could need?
I wish I had an in on that. I'm not. Nothing.
You a gamer at all? Because quarantine, it's like I told everyone that I lost motivation to not produce, but really I was just playing Call of Duty. I want to know what it was.
I did. I play when I get hooked on games, man. I play a lot of MMOs too. I'll be nerdy and say that I've played Warcraft and old school RuneScape. I play a lot too sometimes.
Man, we got to introduce you to Sam Biederman. He still puts probably 30 hours a week into old school RuneScape. He's a fellow DJ in town. Yeah, you guys get along great.
Love it.
Let's hop over to SYFR. We talked to the present and future DJ at Columbus. Now we're going to hit up the past. This guy's out. He's doing his thing in the music industry with the major record label. SYFR, man, take us back to when you started and what you're doing now, man.
Well, I started back in 2008. My freshman year in college. I went to school down in Atlanta at Morehouse College, and picked it up based off of curiosity. So I was trying to think back of what was the spark. And it was that DJ AM Travis Barker Fix Your Face mixtape.
Okay.
That really got me interested in the craft itself. And so I bought this super cheap controller. It's called an IQ, like the iDJ IQ.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $100 just to see if I could do it, like if I could mix songs together, and I kind of could. And so I started doing stuff for my freshman dorm. And then I invested in the Newmark NS7, which was the new hotness at that point in time. And then started doing Greek events at my school and at Emory University, which is another school down in Atlanta. Started doing after hours bar events, started doing some club openings. And then I would come home for the summer to Columbus, and I met a bunch of great DJs. I met DJ Devo.
Yeah. I gotta get
when,
Devo on the podcast. That's my bad.
Damn.
Wow, we haven't had Devo yet.
He's still DJing?
I think so. He is.
Yeah.
He's still DJing. I met him when he was a lot skinnier than he is now.
I think we all.
But I met him over at Sloopy's, and then I also met Matt Magic over there as well. And then from there, I met Mike, who was starting his business. And then I met James, who was also, I don't know if you were starting your business at the time or you were in the middle of it, but I was just a relatively new person in Columbus. I grew up in Columbus, but I was a new person to the DJ scene in Columbus, and I really relied on these guys to kind of introduce me to the scene. And so these guys are kind of the reason that I even had a career in Columbus, James and Mike. So it started with, getting familiar with James and working with his company and promoting, and then getting gigs here and there with Corruption Productions in the Park Street area, and working odd jobs with Mike as well. And so then I would go back and forth between Columbus and Atlanta. Columbus was where I spent grad school and a little bit post-grad. And so while I was in Columbus, I had a residency at Longstreet and at Sugar Bar 2. And then in Atlanta, I just did my Greek events and stuff like that. So yeah, it was all in all, because I haven't done it in a very long time, 2008 to about 2014. So about 8 years I did it actively. No, 6 years. I can count.
I was like, damn, we had the accountant on the show. Now we got it.
And no, go ahead, man.
No, I have a couple questions. So between all the CGS gigs you had, what was the wildest area? And is it the back room of Sugar Bar? Because
that is the most loaded question I've ever heard. We all know what it is.
I want to know, because I would literally, people would still to this day tell me stories about that back room, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, because I was up there, but like back there just had this whole identity of like I don't even know.
I got a back room at Sugar Story. So I just showed up on one night after I had a gig, and went to see Corrupt, dap him up a little. He's like, dude, you got to check out the back room. And I'm like, what? All right. So I go out to the back, and whoever is DJing just has this place turned up. It's like, it's hip hop, but it's like it was Atlanta hip hop, because it's the high energy hip hop that like doesn't really make it to the radio. So I'm in here, people wilding, going crazy. I'm like, who is DJing? And then through this like little window is like SYFR, like the nicest like dude, just kind of bobbing his head, doing his thing.
I forgot about that little window room.
I was like, who's SYFR's doing this? Like, just place turned up. I'm sorry to interrupt, man, but I had to share it because it was hilarious.
Do you remember the night that some girl spilled her drink on my laptop and you had to leave I just had to like leave.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a nightmare.
It's funny. So the story of Sugar Bar has to go back to Long Street. So Long Street is where it started, and it was me and Paul, DJ Jeopardy, for those who don't know, doing that side room. Yeah, he is. Doing that side room, and it was originally EDM focused. So we did that for a few weeks, and then for some reason it switched to hip hop. And we turned it into what we call the Twerk Room, and it just kind of blew up from there. When we switched to Sugar Bar, it was just me in that back room, and it was a room with a VIP section that had beds in it, like literal beds, and a huge stripper pole in the middle of the dance floor.
Oh man!
And like James said, like once we opened that room up, it was just nonstop. It was awesome, and it was Atlanta influence because I wanted to infuse that part of it into it, and so because I had a connection to Atlanta, and so we just made it into what it is. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
What's it like being retired from DJing? I mean, you're still in the industry, but like I know you miss it. I'm sure you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's you miss the crowd interactions, and you miss the reactions to transitions. Or the ones that they can't tell are transitions. Those are even better, but it's you miss that interaction. It's been a while for sure, but I'm happy with the career or the time that I had doing it. I had a lot of great gigs, a lot of great experiences, met a lot of great people, and it's just something that I'll never forget.
Absolutely.
And it still ties into what you do now. Like, does it ever help you in your day to day, like being a DJ, or not really? It's all paperwork.
It actually does. So my resume and my interview, I mentioned that I was a DJ, and when you interview for your music company, it obviously helps. It's a talking point. And so right now I work at Universal Music Publishing Group, which is a publishing company, one of the biggest publishing companies in the world. And for those who don't know, publishing is copyrights and songwriting. So there's a difference between the artist and the singer and the performer and the person who wrote the song or produced the song. I deal with the people who write and produce the songs, and we kind of collect all their money and pay them, obviously, their portion of the money. But my boss always tells me that I'm kind of the more musical person on our team because I work in finance. I'm on the finance side of things. I'm not on the creative side of things anymore, but I always have an opinion on artists that or songwriters that we work with and the genre of music that they work in. And so it definitely comes into play because you have that experience of understanding catalogs of music, especially in the niche areas of like EDM and stuff like that. So it still comes into play for sure.
That's awesome.
Nice, man. Oh man, what do you want to go back to first, James?
I just want to know how many shots you think we've taken together, Jimmy, like tequila shots.
In one outing together?
You think I party hard in Columbus? Like, there's something about Cleveland.
This guy.
No, dude, like, I don't know what it was. It was some good times, but
yeah, I'd ask you what your most memorable show in Cleveland was, but I don't know if you have any that you remember, man.
I don't know. All I know is you were always a good host, and you always
Yeah,
had
of
a bunch
course.
people with you.
Jimmy, you mentioned you're
have
doing.
to come to support.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. But you said you're doing some booking for Club Inferno. It sounds like it's a new spot or a place that's just converted. Maybe you could just talk about like what you're looking for in a DJ, or I'm sure you're getting a ton of inquiries just like James does. You know, what are some things that will send that inquiry right to the trash bin, and what are some that'll go, okay, let me take a look at this person.
Well, naturally, I try to look at when I was first starting and reaching out to people what I wanted to show and whatnot. And, my first question is, send me a mix. It's pretty basic stuff. And I don't tell them anything. I'm just like, hey, what would you play at a club? You're going to have every type of variety of person in here. Send me something that mixes everything together. You're looking for an open format mix, basically, without saying that. And then I listen to all of them just because I'm interested, and you know what, I could potentially learn something out of these too. So
absolutely,
that's it. I never will pass anybody up on opportunities like that. And right now I do have a really good core group of people that I knew, and how I kind of fell into this position was kind of interesting. I was on a run one day and I ran past the spot, and a good friend of mine that was working there, was like, hey, can you DJ tonight? Our guy bailed. And they were just going through this like regular company. I didn't know who was DJing or anything. I'm like, well, I can't, but I can get you someone. Probably I can ask around. And since then, so much has grown that they revamped the sound, revamped the lighting, built booths, tables, everything. And the place is such a hot spot now. So to go back to your question, I really just look for what I would want to hear if I went to a spot, but I do that without giving any details because I don't want to curate somebody's style. If it's not the style that fits the venue, it's not. But I also, if it's not necessarily something that I think fits at the time, I always say, why don't you come out to one of my shows or this guy's shows and like get a feel of the vibe and see if you can kind of replicate something like that. I'm really grateful to be in a position like this, to be able to give new people new opportunities that are trying to break through into the scene. I think that's, it's something that's pretty powerful in a sense, to have control over something like that. But it's also really humbling to learn from anybody else that I could bring in there, which is really cool. And that's a really big aspect of it that I enjoy.
Is that in the Flats? Is that same spot?
Yeah, you might have been there or around it. It's across from Forward's entrance. But
good food.
It's
I know that.
Really good food.
Yeah.
It went through a total overhaul on the inside, and it's really dope spot now. And it's like a hybrid venue. So there's a full inside, and then there's this huge patio with garage doors. So the crowd in front of the booth kind of expands from inside to outside, which makes it a pretty unique spot in comparison to a lot of others up there.
Is Magnolia done, or what's going on?
Yeah, so I don't have all the details on that actually. I know it's getting converted and should be relatively soon that they open back up, but Magnolia is done. But there's a really cool new concept spot going in there. It's like a discotheque type venue called Goodnight John Boy. And I'm really stoked to see more details on that. I think it's going to bring an awesome demo in there and something completely new to the city, which is great. There's a lot of top 40 clubs around, and this type of new kind of, like I said, disco environment, I think is going to hit off really well. Because everybody likes something new, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think bars are starting to understand that entertainment's a big part of their setting the vibe and their brand and everything like that. So bringing in a DJ to curate that. I mean, you see places like Town Hall, Seesaw is kind of built to be a nightclub, so I would really classify it as that. But like Vaso, Bodega, some of the spots downtown that are all popping up and having DJs. Lincoln Social's another one. But Steven, we were talking about the value of music earlier. I want to just like open that up to what we're talking about now. I said that I thought the value of music is going down, and I guess I'm talking more from like an artist standpoint, stuff you'd see on Spotify. Back in the 90s, we'd buy a CD, and the CD was $10-$12. There was 12 songs on the CD, so $1 a song. Now, per listen, artists are getting like pennies on the dollar. But you're saying that in your world, the value of music's going up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so like I was, so my profession is in the publishing space, so looking at songwriters and copyrights, and there was a group came out recently called The Pact, which is a group of songwriters that are basically lobbying for songwriters to get a little bit more of the credit, or to kind of have artists stop kind of taking their credit, because the money that's generated from streaming is split between songwriters and recording artists, but it's not split evenly.
All right, really quick. So is that like with, when you hear about BMI and ASCAP, or is this the same boat, same people we're talking about?
Yeah. So we can get deep into it, but BMI and ASCAP are performing rights organizations. So they distribute money based on performances, so live performances, whether it be radio, songs played in the club, songs played at concerts. They distribute money for that. There's the other side of the coin, which is called mechanical licenses, which is just money generated for licenses, which is half of a stream. It's split half and half between performances and mechanicals. But BMI and ASCAP are the United States equivalents of people who would pay you the money for streams, basically.
Got it.
So with all that said, the money that's been lost from physical album sales has been more than compensated by money generated from streaming.
Wow.
Now you would, the argument is for like the independent artists or the lower level artists that they're not necessarily getting as much because their songs aren't getting streamed as much as A-list artist like a Drake or a Bieber or anything like that. But once you start to generate more and more streams, those streams can more than compensate for the money that you would have lost from physical album sales. It's just people are just switching the way that they consume. And so we're not necessarily losing value on songs. It's just the money is switching sources, I guess you could say.
So are we talking like Spotify streams or like
Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Tidal, SoundCloud, Pandora, all.
But how do you filter the fake streams and stuff like that?
Question.
Well, that's more of a question for the actual service provider themselves, like Spotify and Tidal. Whether the stream comes from a farm or whether it comes from a true stream, I don't know, and I can't tell. The money is generated either way. But the DSPs may know a little bit more as far as like getting deeper into the source of the streams. I don't really have any insight into it.
I was going to say, if we can solve that right now, we're about to be really, really, really rich.
Good episode.
No, but I mean, it is interesting just to see, the top source of streams for some artists. And it's like, Indonesia and, these places that you wouldn't expect to see a lot of activity. But that's just where the streams come from. Whether that's true listens or whether it's coming from a farm, I don't know.
So this is all new information to me. But like, if I sign a song to a label, I'm sure they take care of all this stuff, and I'm sure they're taking all my money. But that's beside the point. But like, if I want to release a track independently, what's the steps on getting paid for my streams? I mean, if I want to release a track do I use TuneCore and they keep track of my streams, or like, something like that? Or like, is there a process I have to go through to make sure that the publishing is all taken care of?
It's a good question. So the easiest way is to sign a publishing deal, because they will handle all of the administration for you.
Yeah, you would say
what,
that.
and well, no, I mean, so the biggest thing that I've learned from working at this company is that administration is paramount to everything that a company could do for you. What I mean by that is collecting your money, registering your copyrights, and making sure that you're getting paid for every single exploitation of your song that's possibly out there around the world. That's what a publisher will.
You guys don't do any promotion or pitching to platforms?
No, that's all the labels. That's what labels do. So
go ahead.
No. So I will say, in order for you to collect your money from an independent standpoint, there are a bunch of different services that you could use that will help you to collect from various sources. But the catch-all way to do it is to sign with a publisher and have them do the work for you. It's just much
it makes
easier.
sense. I'm sure there's a lot to it, but it definitely makes sense. Like if you release something independently, and a lot of those websites where you can do that and get your music on Apple Music or Spotify, and they try to pitch you the whole, oh, you get 99% of your profits or whatever. Like, it's like, all right, but like the whole, like not having a label, like it is hard to get your song out there on a lot of the like really good playlists or radio or any of the good streams, unless you're
Lil Nas
you
X.
got a bunch of YouTube subscribers and you're like a blog or something. I don't know. So it's all interesting to me how like a label that pushes the music and then the artist, you need all three. Correct?
A little bit. I mean, there are obviously some independent artists that have done well for themselves as far as promotion, but they have a team of people that also help to push the narrative of their product. Labels obviously offer marketing prowess and professional,
connections
to get your music out as far as you can be, if you sign with them. And then us publishers are just there to help you collect your money with respect to songwriting in your credit that you're owed from a songwriting standpoint.
SYFR, I have one last question about this. Like, if I'm trying to, like, maybe I'm going the songwriting route as a DJ, or I'm like corrupted, like I'm an artist. If I'm working in your world, what's like the one thing I should know? Is it like, make sure that you have representation, don't try to represent yourself, or have someone look over the contracts? Is it, have a plan, have a checklist in order to get these 3 steps done? I know very little about this world, but I'm saying, like, as far as like someone who's an artist or like a songwriter and they're trying to work in your world, do you have any tips for like something that you see like, oh man, here we go again, this guy doesn't have this or doesn't do that?
The biggest thing I would say is to understand, at least at a high level, contracts. Not just contracts in general, but the terminology with respect to publishing contracts or artist contracts, because you more likely than not, you'll have a team of people who are negotiating on your behalf. And you just want to make sure that what they're negotiating for you makes sense for you, because you're the one who's subject to the contract. So at a very high level, there are books that you can read that give you a very high level comprehension of, what goes into publishing, what goes into, a label deal. So just understand that to a high level, just so you can be involved, because at the end of the day, it's your life and it's your money and it's your work.
It's a cool job though, because you're essentially looking out for the artist. Right?
Yeah,
You're like, hey, is that a stream over there? Hey, like,
that's exactly what our admin team does. They will look under every rug, every couch to find every penny that you're owed from everywhere around the world. If someone played your song in a supermarket in Hungary, they're gonna get the money from it.
Dang.
Like it's nice.
Hey, before we go to Jimmy, we got a question from Rob.
Yeah.
Let's see. Out of all the websites where an artist can post a track or a mix, where do you look first and what do you look for? Wait, is that?
I can't tell whether that's a question for a SYFR, so I think we can all answer this. I'm a Spotify user right now. Like, I'd say a high percentage of what I get like is sourced from Spotify, or not sourced from Spotify. I hear it on Spotify, and then I might go to Headliner Music Club, DMS, iTunes to get it. But that's where I'm getting a lot of stuff. I Mixcloud is just so good and bad at the same time. But that's where I would go if I wanted mixes, and then SoundCloud, I guess.
Spotify mixes now?
No, sorry. What I say? Mixcloud for mixes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he says it's for everyone. So yeah, if anyone wants to talk about where they're sourcing their music from or posting their tracks and mixes.
If you know how to get your stuff not taken down by SoundCloud, it's still an option.
That is the sauce.
Yeah, I toss a lot of my stuff up on Mixcloud. I've tried the SoundCloud thing once, and then I got taken down, and I never really looked back. As far as where I'm gathering my music from, I always look at the top charts on Spotify myself, and I kind of pick off of those as like baseline. I need to have these tracks in for my next gig, and then I love the curated playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. Same. And I'll hit like Mint for some better or newer EDM tracks. And then New Music Friday is such a big one for me, because I try to listen to that, because they don't always pop up on the global charts. But if I hear something that's got a good 808 pattern in it or something like that, I'm going to pull it. just because you never know when it's going to pop off, or maybe I'll start playing it early. I don't know.
Guys,
But
you know what I just
I'm
realized?
big on it.
What's up?
I just realized that every time we get our stuff taken down on SoundCloud, it's SYFR.
No,
Looking out for his
Boy, he's doing it.
It's him. It's him looking on my SoundCloud. Like, we own that song.
Like, what is
He's got you bookmarked.
Only you,
man.
James.
Oh man.
Actually, I gotta. That'd be funny if, like, you hit up SYFR, like, yo, I got a Twitch stream coming up. You got me? You're just gonna just look away for like 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're on the subject of music, let's talk about tastemakers, guys. We just do a little segment where we talk about the music we've listened to, whether it's last month, last week, what you're feeling lately. And I gotta say, I just randomly threw on This Is Tyga, and that dude's got hits on hits on hits. I listened for like 2 hours straight. And I'm like, banger,
Right.
early vibes, banger, like so good.
You have to play his music while watching his Instagram story, so you fully get the full experience.
Oh man, is he going wild again? I know.
It's so crazy. Like, I don't care how old I am or if I'm browsing my story through with family around. Like, I'm not gonna unfollow the guy.
he's a staple. Huh?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm a big Tyga fan too, man. Macarena is one of my I love that. I love the twerk and Moomba vibe a lot in my club sets. And when that song came out, I was like,
"This is it.
This is exactly it, man. That's what I like." Yeah. No. So good shout out for that one.
What you been listening to, Jimmy?
So I really like bass music a lot, and I know it's not something you could play out in clubs often, but there's one EP I've been really checking out. It came out a couple of years ago, but I just recently got hip to it. It's by Sullivan King. It's called Vanta Black, and this Sullivan King dude, really, I've watched some of his live sets, and he came from a metal band background, and this guy, he gets up on stage and he just shreds on electric guitar, just plays some crazy stuff along with his like crazy dubstep drops and everything. And I've been having this is like a staple in my workout playlist at this point. Wow. As far as other club stuff, getting into more summer vibes and daytime parties that I've been playing, I love the Two Friends catalog a lot. And they just released a 2-track EP, and it's all just like good vibes, and they got brass in their tracks that always goes over really well. I love the sound they have. So those would be my 2 shout outs.
Two Friends has been able to stick around, man. They haven't popped, but like I feel like they've sat right underneath the radar for so long. I know a lot of people,
before COVID, dude, they were on the rise. And COVID
kind of forced them back down a little bit.
Yeah, but they're so talented.
Their podcast, I don't know if it's podcast or mixes, do so well. I don't,
the Big Booty mixes.
I don't even particularly love them, but they do really well. So I'd be curious to see whether they pop off.
Think about how big their demographic is. Like that, their sound and their mixes are perfect for any college ever.
Yeah, 100%.
And literally every show they do is a college show.
What was that other band that was kind of like that, where it was a guy named Cal? He used to do the freestyles, but he used to sit in the back for like 2 hours before the show with all the material. Just saying. A lot of respect for the dude. I forget the name of the group.
Bro, you've been waiting to talk about this guy.
Maybe a little bit. No, he threw a really good show, and he had me open, so I can't talk shit. But it was a name. It was 2 guys. One was the DJ, and one's name was Cal. I'll forget. Someone in the comments will hopefully help me out. SYFR, what you been listening to, man?
So it's been a mix of stuff. So from the traditional DJ stuff, and I know it's not anything niche or anything like that. But Disclosure's just really been on my playlist nonstop. Both their recent album and a couple remixes. They remixed Doja Cat's Streets.
Yep. And
that's been heavy on my playlist. And then there's a remix of their Watch Your Step by who's that by? Picard. 1 second. Yeah, the Picard Brothers remix of Watch Your Step is just really, really groovy. But on another note, I saw a tweet yesterday, and the tweet was like, what is a song that sounds like it's by a Black artist, but is not by a Black artist? And it was a song called Get Off by Foxy. And it's an old funk song.
Okay.
And so that got me on a rabbit hole where I listened to nothing but 70s funk all day yesterday.
Is that like
it was
Midnight Star? I just
Yeah, stuff
I
like
just
that,
got
like-
hip to how good Midnight Star is. I knew all their tracks. I just didn't know that they were all Midnight Star. So I've been on that kick as well, Cypher.
Yeah, just, you know, it was nothing but Isley Brothers, Cool and the Gang,
Mm-hmm.
Sly and the Family Stone, Earth, Wind and Fire all day yesterday. So that's been my vibe.
Yep. And then you get all of, you know, the samples that were in 80s, early 90s hip hop just from that too. Or I guess at least the West
Exactly.
Coast stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. James, what you been listening to, man?
I've been doing a lot of organizing for Gala Park, so I've been doing a lot of there's like 3 windows of organizing to do, because we're like happy hour, and then you got the dinner music, and then you got the party music. So I've been listening to everything from, you know, disco edits of new and old school. Like, you know how many disco blends there are now? It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your only specific 90s hip hop, specific artists and stuff. And then Frank Sinatra, like literally everything. Classic EDM, like not just your like bangers, but like just very vibey classic EDM. I'm super excited about just it reminds me of like the beginning of Social Room days and like that time frame. So it's gonna be cool, and that's all gonna be blended with your new school, like Doja Cat's, Dua Lipa's, you know, your Justin Bieber, your that new Rihanna Fat Joe song, like 80s influenced but new school. There's just gonna be like a huge pie chart of genres that I get to play with, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Wait, Fat Joe got another hit. He's like, I swear, every three or fifth
I'm talking
year.
about that Sunshine.
Okay.
He didn't even need to be on it. Like he's not
gotcha.
even good on. But like, you know.
But he always has a hit. Every 3 to 5 years, he always got a hit.
But I got to give a shout out to DJ Leak. We just finished a mashup today of Justin Bieber Peaches a cappella over Peaches and Cream instrumental.
Okay, all
it's
right.
pretty good.
That's cool.
It works.
I keep hearing the Return of the Mac one that was on like it hit DMS, and then it hit HMC, and then it hit a bunch of seems like
but
it's
we're
everywhere.
like everybody has that one now.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be rocking that one, but it was pretty good. There's only when they do the long runs, like the long
The
long
problem
notes.
is Return of the Mac is being overplayed already.
Yeah.
We
don't
that's
need
the
another
problem.
one.
Like
So true.
Yeah.
Cypher, when you were mentioning Disclosure, I was thinking of Corrupt You over at Fireproof, because you can't. That's like the pitbull of Fireproof. Disclosure is.
Oh yeah.
How different is Gala Park going to be from Fireproof? Because I feel like they're. I know it's going to be super different, but I feel like they're like a big picture the same thing, like restaurant that turns into music. And I'm guessing Gala Park's going to be more on the dancey side than Fireproof is. Could you maybe talk about that a little more as we get closer to opening?
Yeah, so originally Fireproof was supposed to be something completely different. The food is still inspired by the same ideas, but the party atmosphere actually ended up turning into 80s disco and throwbacks and covers and cover songs and stuff like that. Whereas Gala Park's going to be more of like modern music, still a little bit of disco, but nothing even close to Fireproof. It's still going to be that like toe tapping vibey, you know, during dinner, but it's going to be once the party starts, it's going to be a completely different than Fireproof. It's going to be more of a entertainment venue, you know.
I'm so looking forward to just having Seesaw and Gala right there, right across the street from one another, just like creating like this mecca in the center of the city for just great music, you know. And I know Petey probably doesn't want, you know, Petey and whoever runs Seesaw probably doesn't love that, but I love it as a DJ. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Listen, dude, we're just DJs here.
Yep.
Show us where the mixer is.
Can I ask what's going on with the spaces? Like what is Park Street now? Like what is there anything there?
Okay. Brace yourself. So the Park Street complex got demoed and is now a AC hotel.
Yep.
And it's owned by Corso.
Oh,
Did
wow.
not know that.
Yeah. He's either full or part owner. And
That's
then you
huge.
have what do you have? You have Callahan's is still there, just barely alive, you know. And then you have like Cantina still there, but like It's not the
Not the same
cantina that you
cantina.
remember.
It's not the same cantina.
You got Brothers, you got Bar Louie, and then you have like, you know, a few other spots, but Dahlia, which wasn't there when you were there, is still kicking and still plans on kicking, for, which is crazy because it's, you know, clubs don't usually last. That's 5 years now.
Yep.
And it's just, but you got a lot of catalysts for the arena district right now. You got the Crew Stadium is almost done, and that's going to bring crazy traffic. And then you got the hotel opening up that Corso has. And then, you know, they have this huge project to build back the arena district, but they, from what I'm being told, is they stopped, or they're postponing the project because of how expensive it is to build right now. You know, lumber, all that stuff. So we'll see what happens, but Short North is where it's at now, man. Like when you left, like it just
shifted. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, and we'll see what happens next. There's a spot up in Dublin. You probably know it because when you go see your folks, Cypher, that's doing pretty well. And I can't remember the name of it, but there's also an AC hotel there and nice walking plaza, pins. What else is there? Some, you know, Mexican, kind of like a Condados type spot.
Yeah. They revitalized all of old Dublin. It's like it's non-recognizable from when I was growing up there.
Yep.
But it's good.
Guys, we had put out some feelers maybe 2 weeks ago about Business 101. I've been getting hit up by DJs and also throwing some stuff on my Twitter just about the PPP loans and tax seasons. You know, we're right into it. What is it? The 8th. So y'all got 7 days. But we wanted to do a little DJ Business 101. Cypher, your background's in accounting, and you have a law degree as well, right?
I do not. No.
Damn it. Corrupt, you said he had a law degree, bro.
Listen, dude, the guy's super smart.
No, I'm kidding. All right. But no, like I said, guys, we tried to get, you know, Cypher knows his business stuff. Corrupt, you're in the middle of it right now. So you should be able to speak on this as well. But we want to do like a DJ Business 101. Jimmy, pop in where you can. I'm not sure, you know, how much, you know, you do. I know you got your day job and stuff. But I think it all starts with a business plan. Most of you are already doing it. So it's just a matter of, you know, finding like a template or talking to like a business coach and saying like, how's my business going to run? Is it going to be sole prop? Is it going to be LLC? You know, what are my goals for year one? How much debt do I want to take on? Blah, blah, blah. Just kind of answering all the questions about business so you can at least look back at that after year one, year two, and say, okay, I'm on the right track. Does this need to be adjusted? Blah, blah, blah. Guys, how do you feel about that? Did any of you guys start business plans when you started DJing or like when you started to kind of do your thing and actually get paid for this stuff?
I mean,
go ahead. I'll say I was very informal when I started because I didn't realize that I was going to be anything. But once I started generating income, I started to track a lot more of what I was doing and kind of project forward with respect to what I could do. A lot of that was housed in Excel. I didn't use a lot of programs when I was doing it, but my background is in Excel and what I do now is in Excel. So I was able to develop models that allowed me to track my spending, track my income, track my accounts receivable, and understand where I was at. So I highly recommend understanding from a financial aspect where you are and what you plan to spend, at least for like, you know, increments of months. So like 6 months, 9 months out, a year out, just so you can see where you're going to be, whether you're going to be in the red or the black, and kind of understand, kind of just keeping track of budget. I mean, I budget for a living, and so I can't preach budgeting high enough.
Yep. And if you don't understand any of those words that Cypher's talking about, accounts receivable, accounts payable, liabilities, all that, you know, definitely it's worth spending an hour on YouTube, in my opinion. You know, look, just type in, you know, business 101, accounting 101, find a creator that you don't mind listening to for an hour and just, you know, learn something because it will help you in the future. And then Corrupt, now that you're kind of going through things again, did you develop a business plan at all or just kind of jump in?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think everybody should get the PPP loan if you DJ and make money and you lost some work last year. The loan is meant for people like us, small businesses, independent contractors, And even though you hear about how it gets abused by large institutions, and I think it got extended to May.
It did get extended.
So
I'm happy about that.
There's still time. But and if you use it on business expenses or payroll, it can be forgiven, or it will be forgiven. You just have to show proof of that. But yeah, so this process, you know, I lost a lot of money last year because this is what I do full time. I didn't get the PPP until I asked about it. I watched a lot of videos on it, but also just asking people that got it, like, and I finally, you know, pulled the trigger, got approved, got it. When I went to the bank, I already had an LLC, Corrupt Records, but I didn't really use it. I just bought it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Chase like literally 2 weeks ago and set up a business account with that LLC. And it's so exciting because now I'm like using that. I don't know how I'm going to use it. I have questions still. Like, obviously I'm using it to pay myself with the PPP, but I want to use it to pay myself moving forward in my career.
Absolutely.
I know there's benefits to it. I don't know all the benefits besides bank benefits, like account benefits of like, you know, rewards and stuff. But like, you know, I get that. I know it's just more organized, tax purposes. But I already do my taxes in a way where I print off my statement every year and I write off, like, you know, whether it's parking, music subscriptions, DJ equipment and stuff like that. So I don't know. My question is, you know, when you set up a business account, like what's the benefits of that versus, you know, what's the benefits of paying yourself out of that? Then, you know, maybe I'm just really new to this. I don't know, but
yep, I can definitely talk about that. I want to go back to what SYFR was saying. Like, he was saying it all happens casually, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we're making money now. I'd say if you're wondering, like, oh man, do I need to be listening to this right now? If you're doing at least a gig a week and making $100, you know, which you're like $100, that's nothing exactly. So these are low numbers for you. If you're doing like a gig a week at $100, that's what, $5,200, $1,500 a year. The government's going to want to know where that money is. So if you're doing at least a gig a week for $100, you definitely have, you know, registered with the Secretary of State. I'll talk about that in a second. Having a business account, business debit card, possibly business credit card. I don't love recommending that everyone get a credit card, but you know, if you have a credit card on your personal side and you handle it well, business credit card's a great thing for you as well. But James, to answer your question, what's the benefit of having a business account? It's going to save you a lot of time. Like, so when you would do your taxes in April, instead of you having to print out statements, this, that, and the other, this could have all been done throughout the year. You can use programs like QuickBooks Online, which will link your business credit card, business debit card, business account, automatically, you know, predict whether this goes on, you know, the left side of the balance sheet, the right side of the balance sheet. Again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, spend some time. Maybe I'll even do a YouTube video of DJ Business 101. But it'll actually put everything where you need to. So at the end of the month, end of the year, all you're doing is saying, yes, that's where it was supposed to go. Yes, I did that. Boom, boom, boom. Figuring out all the inconsistencies, just like you do your normal taxes, but it's only involving what you're doing on your DJ side. And you're like, why am I doing all this? Well, the reward is 30% off. And what that basically means is if you have a business, any money that you, and this, I'm not an accountant, but this is the basic understanding of it. If you own a business and you get to take, you know, your revenue, normally that would all be taxed at whatever rate, 30%. Well, you get to take all of your all the money that you spent on your business, just on your DJ business, and that cuts in 30% to what you're doing. So basically getting 30% off everything that you buy for your DJ business. That's your reward for registering with the Secretary of State, having your own business account, business debit card, business credit card, and then doing your taxes on time. And some of you are like, oh man, DJ Axis is talking about me. It's not just you, because so many DJs don't do their taxes on time, and I think there's a fee for it. So, and you're just putting it off. Get QuickBooks Online, you know, have your own business account, and this stuff doesn't take that long. And like I said, you save 30%, you're not getting feed. But God, DJs are like the worst at filing their taxes late. So anyway, guys, sorry to just the first thing you want to do, make a business plan. Register with the Secretary of State. That's typically a pretty easy process. Head to your bank, open up a business account, business debit card. If you're responsible with your money, get a business credit card. Link your bank accounts to QuickBooks Online. SYFR was using Excel. You could do that. I think it's a little bit more work that way. And I'm sure there's other programs. QuickBooks Online is the one I recommend because that's what I use. If you're not willing to do QuickBooks Online, you got to hire an accountant. I know most accountants, at least in the general area, will charge like $450 for taxes, depending on how large or small your business is. That's kind of the number I'm hearing. Pay your quarterly taxes. If you guys don't want to get audited, no DJ wants to get audited. I'll tell you that right now. No DJ wants to get audited. Pay your quarterly taxes. Basically, whatever you took off of your last year's taxes, whatever your revenue was, divide it, or whatever you paid in taxes, divide it by 4. Pay it on April 15th. July 15th, October 15th, and then December 15th. And then pay your taxes on time. Don't get hit with the fees. Don't delay it. Pay your taxes on time. If you're paying your quarterly taxes, you might even get some back. Probably not, but you might. And then, like I said, your reward for doing all this stuff is 30% off of everything that you buy for your deal. So you're looking at that new mixer that you want. You're looking at, advertising on Facebook or whatever it is, all that stuff, basically getting 30% off. That's the reward. If you guys want us to talk more about this or get someone who does like small business accounting, let us know, and we'll continue to put the feelers out there. But if you follow those steps, that'll at least get you started, and YouTube can be a big help. Anything that anyone wants to add? I know I kind of took over that segment, guys, but it was, the PPP loan stuff is shutting down shortly. And, like I said, it is tax season in 7 days. So if you haven't done them already, get started, and be compliant and get yourself some money back. Anyone want to add to that?
Pretty sure you just dropped the mic on us.
Ah, man.
Yeah.
Like,
that was good.
That's stuff out.
It's good info, because that's something that I've always questioned, and I've definitely put to the side, because I know there's stuff that I could be benefiting from. Even I know I do work full time, but this is a big part of my income as well. So I know there's opportunities there. So that's a lot of good info. I appreciate you saying that. I was looking forward to this segment.
Good. All right, good. Glad it helped. And then, like I said, guys, the PPP loan has been extended. I am not the dude who's typically out there say, hey, go take on a bunch of loan. But when I say they are literally just giving money away, that's actually what's happening. I'm not using literally in the way that everyone else is using. I'm using it the actual way. They're giving away money. If you're registered as a sole prop, they're talking about forgiveness, right? Well, am I going to get forgiven? Am I going to get forgiven? If you are registered as a sole prop, all that money that comes from the PPP loan wants to be used for payroll, right? Well, if you're the only employee in your company, it's automatically going to you. So you sign, you go online to a website, you put an e-signature, and you're forgiven if you're a sole prop. If you're an LLC like Corrupt is, there might be some more things that you have to do. I'm not familiar with that process. But if you're sole prop, if you didn't DJ as much in 2020 as you did in 2019, there is money waiting for you. All you have to do is go get it. In my opinion, there's really no excuse. You guys are willing to go do a 4-hour gig for what, $600, $500, $400, whatever it is. This will take you, once you have your taxes done, it'll take you an additional 30 minutes, and you could be getting, I've heard numbers as high as 20,000. That's all I'm gonna say. I've heard like for the second round, first round, 4,000 ish seems to be like the number, but I've also heard these high numbers as well. So they're just giving money away. If you need some money, go get it. And like I said, bunch of resources on YouTube if you guys need it. I am done talking about that. What do I want to talk about next? I've given up some tips, guys. I want to hear from our guests more tips for listeners. Jimmy Gross, could you give us a tip for DJs that maybe they haven't heard before?
Yeah, sure. So people talk about song structure and whatnot a lot in regards to producing, and I think that's super important with DJing as well. Being able to recognize song structure. So I'd say that personally, my biggest tipping point that really like propelled my skill set and abilities, like once I figured this out, I was able to really, really move forward and expand on it. It was finding patterns within music. And when you could identify patterns like to a really expert level, you could be given 4 songs you've never heard and probably be able to get a decent mix out of them. But I think the secret in that, because you could YouTube like, okay, this intro is the same amount of length as this chorus. If I play this at the same time as this, it's going to blend. That's simple stuff. But I think the real secret there is to try to find that organically. Like if you're just starting out, just fail at your mashups as much as you possibly can. Fail at your mixes, because one day when that just clicks, you're going to be like, oh crap, that was good. How can I do that again in a different spot? And it expands across all genres, which I think is the coolest part. You could just really kind of feel when a song is going to change if you understand patterns in music. And at that point, you can just start sight reading waveforms, which I think is another really cool thing. So pay attention to your waveforms, but don't rely on them, and look for patterns in songs. That is probably my first thing I tell anybody that comes to me for advice, is to recognize patterns in song structure, but to discover that organically by practicing. Might be a little basic,
like
but
that.
No, man, I love
haven't had it.
We haven't had it.
Yeah.
One, and you mentioned another one, reading waveforms. I didn't even realize that that's something that I do. I'm like, oh yeah, you can just tell what's coming up next by the waveform. So I love both those tips. And you said like discovering it organically, like, you know, Katy Perry and Taylor Swift songs always got that second chorus. So you can't do your 16-bar intro. You got to wait for the halfway through the first chorus to do it. Yeah, I'm right with you there, man. Cypher, tip for dinner. Or DJs. I'm hungry. The boy's hungry.
No, I mean Jimmy's one was spot on. I mean, one of my friends was asking me, she bought a controller and was trying to learn how to DJ, and she was having trouble with mixing and where to mix and where to come in. And I was like, well, there's 8 counts, so you know that this is an 8 count bar. So just, you know, understand that you have an 8 count intro. It's just, and I feel like it came second nature to me, maybe because I've been DJing for a while or I have a background in music, but it's not like that for everybody. So that's definitely a great tip, Jimmy. Oh gosh, I've been out of the game for so long. My tip is from a business standpoint: keep track of your income, keep track of your receipts, and make sure that you follow up with people that owe you money. That's what I was referring back to with accounts receivable. That's basically any money that you are owed for work that you performed. So if you did a gig and someone's like, oh yeah, I'll pay you next week or next month, that's an accounts receivable, and you need to keep track of that. I know that may be an issue for people. So just make sure you keep track of it, because it's your money and it's owed to you. And to Mike's point, QuickBooks is definitely better than Excel. I mean, I just have a lot of experience with Excel and I'm more comfortable with it, but find a program that works for you and keep track of everything that you have, because you'll thank yourself. And if you hire an accountant, they will thank you, because you'll be organized.
Yep. Yeah, you'll save a lot of money once those hourlies come in, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Let's see what else we can talk about here. We talked about music. I wanted to hit on this. I think I talked about it in the pre-show. Phase users. There is hope on the horizon. The Serato 2.5 beta just got released. I downloaded it. I'm testing out a new mixer, the Newmark Scratch. If you are an introductory DJ and you're looking for like a value battle mixer, it's dope. I wish it had 16 cue points. Corrupt, you know, I've been complaining about things not having 16 cue points for forever. But if it had 16 cue points, you know, it'd be perfect. But as far as introductory scratch mixer, for those of you who know, it has an innovator in it. So as far as beginner DJs, it's going to teach you how to mix on any fader. It's $500, so I think it's super affordable. You know, comes with the Serato license. So I'm gonna be doing a full review on my YouTube for that mixer here shortly. But just testing out the phase without the RCAs going in is a godsend. Cypher, you were a turntable guy. You know, Corrupt, with all the bumps that you had when you were playing, you know, that cantina DJ booth with all the bumps that would happen there when you were on turntables. You'd love this as well. But phase users, I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting the beta because you can't use it live anyway. But as soon as that goes live, I do recommend that you grab it if you're a phase user, because it is dope and it's completely reliable, no drift or anything like that. Can't wait for that.
Did you say 16 cue points?
Yeah. So usually 8 on each side. Is what the standard is now.
Oh my gosh.
Your NS7 had 16.
Well, then I got my Technics with TTM57.
Yep.
5 on each
5.
side.
Yeah, you're right. That's the Scratch Live version.
Yeah, man. I have not upgraded to Serato DJ because I don't
need to
DJ anymore. So, you know,
there's still a good amount of people that don't want to do Serato DJ.
Let's see.
Still-
James from YouTube says, being that DJs do 4 to 6 hour sets, what's some of the best practice techniques that you guys would say keep you sharp? Ooh, good question. I think you got to know what you do well as a DJ, like what your brand is, and then just focus in on that. So, you know, for me, I'm part of my thing is the battle stuff. So I do spend some time, you know, every week, just doing my cuts. And I have 4 cuts that I really like. I make sure that my babies are on point, my actual cuts and chops, my crabs, and then my flares. So I can do those sleeping, you know, any little, if a new song comes out and it has Drake screaming over the intro, it's a cappella, I know I can cut that up with those 4 scratches. For other people, it might be like, hey, I do double drops. Like, you know, back when dubstep and trap music was popular, you know, I used to mix in 1 build, like 2 builds at the same time. You basically could pick which drop you were going to hear, if that's part of what you do. So find out what your core is to your brand, what you do really well that like makes you stand out from other DJs, and just practice that on a weekly basis. So no matter, that's what I would say. You guys want to add to that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's some of the best practice techniques that keep you sharp?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, because I was going to say you got to make sure you keep yourself entertained, because that really can wear on you after a certain amount of time. Whenever I get handed those types of, you know, longer sets, I try to separate it in my own head as if I'm opening for myself in a sense. And, you know, so I'll have my curated, you know, early time playlist into the, you know, almost peak hour, closing hour. And I try to find new ways to transition all of those seamlessly. Because, you know, if you're doing one or the other, you kind of have hard cut points where you can jump in at any time.
Yep.
So that's my way of looking at it, is just trying to be able to mix absolutely everything from your chill deep house, if you're starting at 10 o'clock and people are still eating dinner, if that's the type of venue you're going, to your, you know, the baby track that just came out. You got to be able to go from A to Z at all times. And like I said, curate from the very beginning to the very end. Open for yourself, I think, is the best way to put it.
Love that. James?
Yeah, like both of those. I do the same thing where I mentally open for myself, but you know, I think just always looking to match and transition group by groove and flow of a song, energy of a song. That's always in the back of my head, especially with like how different all my nights are, or all my gigs. So like you always want to keep the right energy and the rhythm. You know, those long sets, it's definitely always good to have more music than you need prepared. You don't want to be you want to be okay with skipping over a track if you're reading your room and you're like, man, I don't want to play this track, but I got to play 3 hours, like I'm going to run out of music. Don't ever let that happen. Been there. Yeah, I mean, energy drinks.
The less alcohol, the better. Most often, save the alcohol as late as you can, or you know, plan that last 2 hours to come down if you're driving home or something.
Pace yourself the first couple hours.
SYFR, you want to touch on this?
Versa.
I mean, from a practice standpoint, I mean, those opening hours, quote unquote, could be spent just practicing transitions. I mean, you're not going to have as big of a crowd, and they're not going to necessarily be dancing theoretically. So just practice your transitions. You can even do that before your gig, just to play around with different things. That'll kind of keep you engaged because you're exploring and experimenting for yourself. That's the main thing. And then, like Jimmy said, just make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing, because that's, if you're not enjoying it, the crowd's going to sense that, and they're just going to kind of vibe off of your energy. So just, you know, make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing and what you're spinning.
There are definitely nights where it feels like, you know, 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, that you're warmed up and like you're ready you're actually ready to go. Maybe you thought you were ready, but you know, you just were kind of going through the motions for like your first few songs or whatever. Yeah.
I think it also comes from the crowd. You know, you'll get that, you know, that like Jimmy was talking about, that foot tap, you know, the head nod, you know, someone starts singing the song. I think that's where the warming up comes in as well. Because I mean, are we really like warmed up? No, we've been doing this long enough that we're warmed up already. It's just a matter of bringing that connection with the crowd. I also wanted to say, go through your crates. and not just like in iTunes or in Serato, but actually like load them up and maybe do like make sure they have all your cue points. So for me, I'm crazy. I do like a start of the song, 4 bars, 8 bars, and then I have the chorus. So if I'm quick mixing and, as the song starts coming, I'm like, maybe I only need a little bit of this. I can hit, instead of going into that first verse, I hit that cue point for the chorus. And then now I'm, doing that. So just maybe going through your crates, loading them up into Serato, doing cue points, the track analysis, all that. So it's faster, if you're quick mixing. But thank you for the question, James. Appreciate you watching over there on YouTube. Let's see. I think we're moving over to promoting yourself. So I think this is more for Jimmy than it is for SYFR. But Jimmy, sure. Tell us about your social media stuff and then where people can find you up in Cleveland and when.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Jimmy is not gross. I've had that since I was like 11. It's stuck. Following on Instagram, Twitter is the best way to figure out where I'm at. As far as this weekend goes, I got a headlining show at Ivy tomorrow night, which I do get to play on the S11. Just as a side note, I've never touched it, so I'm kind of excited for that. Yeah, that's the best way to stay updated. You can find me at Ford Nightclub this summer. Good Night, John Boy, Inferno, Ivy, hopefully Seesaw soon once we start getting more of us down there.
Yep, absolutely. SYFR, you want to talk to these guys about your IG?
Yeah, man. I mean, my IG has fed into the retired life. It's fed into the retired life. Most of my time is spent working or golfing or hanging out with my wife. So, if you want some quality family and golf content, you can follow me. But no, I mean, that's about it.
Cool. And then we do this thing called 614 releases. Let me pull up the thing. For anyone watching, guys, if you are not already subscribed to the Spotify list, please do so. It's really going to help everybody in the community out. For those of you guys who don't know, where we have a Spotify list, it's Columbus DJ Podcast. Anyone who's been a guest on the show who produces music on Spotify, we throw your music up when it's on a release date. Hopefully people see it in their release radar in the playlist. You could just throw this thing on. It's all great music. We're not throwing any scrubs in there. But hopefully this is a great way for all the Columbus artists who are part of our community to get plays on their music, let people know that their stuff's out there, because we are all battling against the algorithm, and the people need some help. Corrupt, anything else you want to say about that? Are you putting out any music mixes? How's the new mix series coming?
It's coming. Just started prepping it. Releases next month. Corrupt files. Something new, something different. I don't know. I'm not going to do guests at first, but I'm definitely going to do guest DJs going into it. So yeah. But the remix is going well. And then I'm working on another remix, which those obviously can't go on Spotify because of people like SYFR. Like
you knew it was coming.
I'm kidding, dude. But yeah, no, it's definitely working.
And then, guys, Jimmy, SYFR, anything you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap up here? We really appreciate you having us on, having you guys on, or having and taking the time. So
this was a blast, man. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
I just want to, reiterate the fact that, you guys are the reason that I was able to be a Columbus DJ in the first place.
You're a good DJ.
So, just, appreciate you guys and the times that we had while we were doing it. And appreciate you guys having me on.
Is your dad still in town?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, next time you're in town, hit us up, bro. We gotta get a meal or something.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Jimmy, next time you're at Seesaw, I'm gonna try and check you guys out. I haven't seen Dom spin yet, but he's on my list, and I got you on my list as well. Let us know.
Yeah, I need to come down and catch one of you guys up for sure.
I was just saying I need to come see you at Ivy. I haven't even been over there yet. So
yeah, for sure, man.
Catch it. But yeah, SYFR, it's been great catching up, man. Really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
To all you guys watching, Rob, James, we really appreciate you guys rocking with us. We'll be back at some Thursday in the future. Corrupted my schedule, are getting pretty packed here. So we're going to try and do something every Thursday, whether it's going to be a podcast or whether it's just a music stream or an artist feature. We're unsure yet. We're going to keep this going as long as our schedules will allow, and we appreciate you guys being here with us.